Bad Boys Club. Y'all been watching? Because I've been watching. Y'all, it all started off great. It all started off great. Everybody was getting along, you know. It was cool, but then the egos got involved. Um, you know, people being, I guess, anxious or nervous about their positioning and all that, and then the shit just hit the fan. It hit the fan, but let's talk about it, shall we? Okay, so it began with actually Milan. Milan gets a package, and he ends up calling Anthony down. We find out that Milan wants to set up a display of the molding of his penis and fleshlights, and he wanted to give some to some of the people in the house, some of the guys in the house, and which I thought was kind of weird, odd, a little inappropriate. Listen, all these guys are bad boys. I'm sure none of these people are virgins. I get it. But Milan has a way about him. I don't know if he knows it. I don't know if he does it on purpose. But he has a way about him that toots his own horn consistently. And the way that Milan toots his own horn is very much so. I don't know if he means it, but he comes off in a way that puts you down. You meaning the other person. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose, but his way of doing things is just not right, and how he moves and stuff. I just don't like it. That's why I say constantly, I go back and forth with Milan. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. And this episode I did not. I didn't. But he was just, doing the most, and I'm just like, and you're giving this to these straight men. I mean, obviously they can have the fleshlight and, do their thing. And he had the dildos or whatever for, in the house. But it's just like, or either or, interchangeable, or give both on both, or whatever. But it was just weird. I'm like, well, why would I want to wake up with that I wanted Folgers. I wanted Folgers in my cup. I don't want to wake up with a big dick in my cup. Of you, Milan. It's just like, child, I don't know, but a person that has to toots their own horn as much as Milan does, is underneath all that is insecurity. Absolutely. Nobody loves Milan as much as Milan loves Milan. And that's great that Milan loves Milan. You have to love yourself or you can love anybody else. Hell, RuPaul taught us that. But I mean, still, it's just it's the way that you do it, and it's just it's off putting. It's off putting. Sometimes him in this house, or his antics, I should say. Anyway, Milan ends up getting everybody up. They end up going down to the studio. Matt Cash is the producer. Y'all know Matt Cash also produced the Baddies song, Baddies ATL song. And, they got him in the studio. Some of these guys are rappers. Some are not. Some are singers, I heard. But I didn't hear not one tune, Whatever. So they all in the studio. Darrell, he agreed to just sit back and not do nothing. That would probably be me. Especially based on, like, the song choice and stuff. And I sing sometimes. Live gim around the house. But the song, the beat, there was no room for a singer's voice on that kind of track, in my opinion. So if anybody there was actually a singer, I don't know what the hell they could have did with that song, but hey. So anyway, everybody's getting there rapping. Of course, Milan is first. And, he's doing this whole thing. Oh, before I go on with that, we find out that the Bad Boys are going to have a fashion show. And Anthony is the one that's going to be kind of in charge of the fashion show. One of his homeboys or whoever reached out to him and wanted to put the Bad Boys in their fashion show. But found out that same person apparently reached out to Milan, or the producers or whomever, reached out to to Milan and told him the same thing. So now Milan has taken over the fashion show. And that was Anthony's gig. Now, Milan, you was the one that Natalie told to get the boys together for the bowling alley. That foolishness that happened down there. That when William allegedly twerked on Moolah, when there's still no footage of that. You was in charge of that. Now you trying to take charge of this. And it's just like, Milan, like you trying to bring William back to the house. It's just like, Milan, are you trying to be a producer on the show? Are you a producer on this show? Are you a part of Zeus Network now? What's going on? Milan acts like Natalie, but a little bit worse, maybe. Milan definitely has that Natalie spirit about him. Very much so. It's just I don't know. Like I said, he has good qualities, and there are things that I appreciate about Milan, but sometimes just how he acts and just, it's just please. And then let Anthony be in charge of something. Let Anthony take over something. This is Anthony's gig. And now you're trying to take over that. It's like, damn, Milan, what do you want? Do you want a trophy at the end of this? I hope he's getting something. Maybe he get more money than everybody. I don't know. But, anyway, cut back to the whole studio. Milan goes first. He did well. Really, he's just chilling around the studio. We don't even see Dylan most of the time this episode. I don't even know why Dylan there, to be honest. Don't nobody really talk to him, except for when it comes time for some mess, or when it comes time for him to come for William, then they'll bring Dylan in. But other than that, child, they ignore Dylan. And so for the most part, it was cool. We see everybody's kind of going off in their own little thing. Curtis, he did his verse. Curtis did well. At one point, Rail asked to see Milan's chain. Milan let him wear his chain. Apparently they think that Milan and Rail got something going on or whatever. I don't think so. Milan strikes me as the kind of person is that he will use you for whatever he wants to. So if he needs to flirt with you a little bit to pass the time or to get whatever he needs to get out of you, he'll do it. And then he'll be, child, please, throw you to the dust. So, Rail, don't get your feelings caught up in no Milan. I've met many men like Milan. Okay? Minty. All right? Stunt queen. Handsome. Good looking, all that kind of stuff. But will play you to the left, in a minute. So anyway, so I'm trying to think. Okay, so Matt Cash, the producer, he ends up saying, well, yo, we got to wrap this whole thing up because I got to go. So he allows Gutta to go in there and do his part and Moolah. And then after that, he just gets up in the middle of the session and say, oh, well, I got to go. So then all of a sudden, everybody's frantic and stuff and trying to figure out what the hell going on, especially Milan. Because Milan is like, yo, somebody need to save this. Somebody, he just up and left. And I'm just like, what kind of shit is that as a producer to just up and leave like your stuff and not at least save it? I was just like, what? Like, I understand that you have to go, but I don't know. It was just real unprofessional to me. And that was the beginning of the big argument on this episode between Milan and Kerrion. I think it was because of that. I think Milan was stressing, this is Milan's brand. This is Milan's image. Okay, nobody else's reputation. Nobody's Milan's, just Milan's. And he didn't want to look crazy. He did his verse in Milan's mind. Milan had the best verse. And he was just like, yo, we got to save this or whatever. So Kerrion jumps in. He was like, yo, I kind of know how to use Pro Tools. Did he say he did? He said he did or he didn't. It don't matter. But anyway, the point is that Kerrion he jumped in there to help try to save the music and stuff. He was just like, well, I mean, I could just YouTube it or whatever real quick and understand it, and then I can figure it out and save y'all music or stuff. Milan, so it was like, no, you don't even know what the F you doing, da 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 da. That started the whole thing. Milan is stressed out right now. He's, running around trying to figure out what's going on. I understand his vibe and him wanting to save the song. But Kerrion simply jumped in to help. And he did it in a nice way. So your response, Milan, was very nasty and rude, and it wasn't necessary. And so that's what's created the whole drama with them. It pretty much went downhill from here. Insults like, Kerrion calling Milan the F word and the P word, and telling him that he sells dick, ass, and balls. And Milan was just like, well, you wish you sold dick, ass, and balls. Kurt Franklin watching in the morning, the sun's gonna shine. And it was going back and forth, and it just started to get real ugly, child. It was a mess. I'm not even going back and forth through all the insults. Some of the insults I laughed at. It was just getting weird. So we find out that Milan's leg is hurting. Because, Milan is a senior citizen like me. And my legs hurt a lot as well. But Milan legs was hurting. And he had, him and Kerrion was behind him arguing. And so Kerrion ended up standing up. And Milan picked up a bottle. So people are trying to get the bottle out of Milan's hand because we don't know what Kerrion's going to do. And it just got ugly. Kerrion ended up walking outside. Curtis was actually the voice of reason. Curtis came out there, and, thank God Curtis is finding his own voice outside of being stuck up under Moolah all day. Thank God for growth. Curtis is growing, and I appreciate that. I might actually end up liking Curtis. I think both Curtis and Moolah at their core have good hearts, but it's just all that ignorant stuff on top of it. So I think that once you get down there, once you're allowed down there by them, then I feel like they could be cool. And we didn't hear a peep out of Moolah this entire episode. Moolah was fine. He did, there was no issue with Moolah this whole time. So Moolah, you do know how to act. You do know how to work with others. You do know how to work well with the girls with the Z. Some say you may be one of them. Anyway, so yeah, it just got crazy, the insults, etc. Kerrion came back in, throwing insults, and then him and Milan kept going back and forth into it. At one point, TheReal got into it with Kerrion slightly, but they was able to squash it. Kerrion, he was just upset. When people are arguing, nobody wants to say that comment hurt my feelings until maybe the next day or whatever. But when you're in the heat of the argument, it's all about who's going to win the argument. It's all about who's going to punk who. And so that's what it was given. So everybody gets outside, they still have to go to the fashion show. After all this foolishness of staying at the studio all day arguing and fighting, they now all of a sudden drunk, and drinking and smoking. Now all of a sudden they got to go to the fashion show and walk and fall and tumble. So I'm like, child, y'all even took no baths. Y'all been sweating, and I was just like, what's going on, child? So they showing next week's scenes. We see that I guess Kerrion's gonna get out before everybody or whatever. But we see Milan get off the damn van, and he's going to sneak Kerrion and hit him on the side of his head, child. And I said, Lord. And then the guy who's having the fashion show, he came out here and got them told. Was like, look, I'm not with this ghetto shit. Y'all need to figure it out. And Milan, he's popping his gums. I'm from Chicago, whoop to whoop. I grew up with Michelle Obama and all that. So, then we get to the fashion show, and later on, it looks like they're going to have some kind of court session or something. And then Milan, he ends up getting mad and saying, oh, I ain't do nothing to this N-word, da-da-da-da-da. And then it looks like we see Milan like swing on Kerrion or something, and it's just ugly. It's just ugly, and none of this had to happen. I understand snapping on people, which is what Milan did. He snapped on Kerrion. Um, but at the same time, once you in your mind, for me, if I knew I slapped on somebody and they didn't deserve it, I would apologize after I thought about it for a few minutes. After I calmed down and, whatever. But Milan, all you had to do was apologize. Kerrion did not mean it in a mean way. At the end of the day, he was stepping up trying to help. He was trying to contribute in some kind of way. Dylan wasn't doing shit. And none of the other guys in the room say anything about saving the music. They probably didn't even give a damn. At least Kerrion stood up and was like, yo, maybe I can figure something out and try to save y'all music. Even if he would have lost the music, at least he tried. He wouldn't have done it on purpose. So, Milan, you overreacted. I understand you were stressed, but you was real nasty. You was real nasty. And yes, Kerrion was nasty to you as well. But this time you started it. You did. So we're going to see what happens, child. We're going to see. We're going to see. What y'all think about this love connection that's going on between the new one? We done kind of squashed the Kerrion and Gutta. But now it's a new love springing in the air. Rail and Milan. Child. With that said, I'm MrChalaki. MrChalaki on Google+. Follow me at It'sKeysWorld on Instagram and Twitter. At It'sKeysWorld89 on Snapchat. Chase King on Facebook. MrChalaki on Cash App and PayPal. And as always, run me my money or run me my fade. Run me my money the way I get paid. Stay black, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys later.